Hola amigo, hello Loita, it's your boy Silenx, and watching SilenxScripts. Now, in the very last episode we learned about z-index, and in this episode we're going to be learning about some more measuring units in CSS rather than pixels. Up until now, whenever we wanted to do font, maybe size, we used to go for like 10 pixels, but I'm going to teach you about more measuring units rather than pixel. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. And if you were wondering why I wasn't uploading for the last 12 days, I was busy with school. Anyway, I'm no more busy, so we're gonna do this right now. Now, I'm not gonna attach a new CSS file with my HTML file. I've already opened this HTML file into my browser using live server. If you don't know about that, you should watch my previous videos. So I'm not going to attach a new style sheet, but I am going to create the style tag here so that I can write the CSS right in the HTML. You should know about all of this if you have watched my videos. So now we're going to be, I'm just going to list what measuring units we're going to learn about. We're going to learn about pixels. We're going to learn about M. We're going to learn about Rem. We're going to learn about wh. We're going to learn about ww, and we're going to learn about percentile. I don't know if you call this percentile, but I think if it's like 1%, then it's called a percentile. I'm not really sure about that. Anyway, so we're going to be learning about these. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So for learning about pixels, it's quite easy. Pixel is just like a very basic measuring unit. 1 point in your like computer screen, is called 1 pixel. If you want to see how small a pixel is, I'm just gonna comment them out so that they aren't on the screen anymore. And I'm just gonna quickly change the title from document to measuring units. Hopefully the spelling is correct. Don't believe me if the spelling is not correct. Now this, I'm gonna write here, this is 1 pixel. Okay. Now this is not 1 pixel. We have to change the font size of this. We're gonna use a class on this called heading, and then inside of the style, I'm gonna target this class like this. You should know how to target a class if you have watched my previous videos. And I'm gonna say, no, not head, but heading it should be. Heading. Okay. Font size 1 pixel. Now this size right there is 1 pixel. Now I know in the 100% zoom size you can't even see this. You cannot really see that. I'm gonna zoom in for you like 500% and see how small is this. So pixel is like one part of your entire screen. A pixel is a very small measuring unit, and if I want it to like be visible, then I'll have to move it to like 10 pixels, maybe 16 pixels. 16 pixels is, by the way, default by your browser. You can actually change your font size by going into settings and then font size, and yeah, you can do that. I'm not gonna open my settings because that's gonna like reveal my font, my actual email ID, so I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, so by now I think you should know about pixels. It's really easy about pixel. Pixel is like the very basic measuring unit in computers. Your screen right now, the YouTube video you're watching right now, might be of 1080 into 1920 pixel size, because that is the maximum pixel size I allow it while editing. So yeah, I think everything with the pixels is done. So we're gonna move on to the next one, which is M. Now M, I don't really know the full form of M, but all I know is M means font size of the parent. For now, I'll have to create a div, okay? I'm just gonna leave this h1 right there, just so you know what 1 pixel is. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna, I think I shouldn't do that. Let it stay there. Font size 1 pixel. Okay, so this way you will know that 1 pixel is like not visible at all right there, just so you know. I'm gonna name it pixel, just so you don't get confused. Now I'm gonna do, for using the M value, we have to first create a div. It's not important to create a div, but M only works inside of a parent tag. So we are creating a parent tag, which is a division. And I'm gonna give it a class of parent for M, which is pretty self-explanatory what this is. I'm gonna do parent for M. I'm gonna target it. I'm gonna give it a border of 1 pixel solid red. By the way, I didn't knew before like this video that tomato is also like a color. Maybe I knew about it, I just forgot, but I don't think I knew about it. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this a definite width of about 500 pixels and then a definite height of about 500 pixels. Now what's going to happen is going to have a height and width. I'm going to actually change the border to 1 pixel, from 1 pixel to 2 pixels, and I'm also going to give it a border radius just so it looks nice. I know anything doesn't look nice here, but just whatever we can do. I'm going to give it a margin top of 1 rem. Not 1 rem, actually 10 pixels. Sorry for using the rem part. I am going to teach you what rem means in a moment or so. So I'm not going to use rem before I teach you what rem means. I'm going to use pixels. And what is rem, you should know because you have watched my video. And if you haven't, you should go to my previous videos and watch them all. What a joke, M. Anyway, you should watch them all just so you know what I'm doing in this video, because I'm not going to go explaining the basic stuff like margin, border radius, and stuff like that. So go watch my previous videos. So now, coming back to the video we were doing, now we have a parent division, and inside of the parent division, I'm going to create a h1 tag. I'm going to give it class of child for M, and I'm going to say this is M. Now you can see this is M, but we haven't actually provided it the M value. Now we're going to do that. For that to happen, we will have to provide the parent of the parent body, the parent element, a font size. So I'm going to give it a font size of 32 pixels. You might be confused why I'm using pixels when I have to use M. I'm going to show you in a moment. And then I'm going to target this child as well. I'm going to say child for M, and I'm going to target it, and I'm going to say font size 1M. Now as soon as I did that, you see the font size changed. But what does 1M means? 1M here translates to 1 in 1 multiplied by whatever font size is given to the parent. So if I do 16 here, the font size for this child will be 16 pixels. And if I do 2M here, it will be 2 multiplied by whatever font size was of the parent, which is 16. So 2 into 16, it will be 32. So that is how M works. So now I hope that you know what 1M means. Like 0.1 M means 0.1 multiplied by 16, which I'm going to repeat it again. 1M basically means 1 multiplied by whatever font size is given to the parent element. Sorry, I just had someone come into my room, so I kind of forgot where I left it. Anyway, so now I hope you know what 1M means. Now we're going to move on to rem. And rem will be very easy to understand because you have already understood M. Now what rem means, rem stands for the full form of rem is root M. Now that you already know what M is, you might think a rem is related to something like parent element, but that is not true. Rem means root M. It means 1 multiplied by whatever is the default font size of your HTML tag. So in order to explain you what 1 rem means, I will need to target the HTML tag inside of our styles, and I'm going to give it a font size of about 16 pixels. Now we have font size goes to 16 pixels for our entire HTML. HTML tag starts from here and then ends at the very bottom of the entire code. Okay, now we have our font size, the HTML font size 16 pixels, and we have the child for M have a font size of 1 rem. Now if I do this 2 rem, then you see the size changed. But now it doesn't really have anything to do with the parent, right? I'm gonna remove the parent's font size. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the parent's font size to 1 pixels. But you see, even though I changed the parent's font size to 1 pixel, this font didn't change its size because rem means root M. 1 rem here means 1 multiplied by whatever is the font size of your entire HTML. So rem means 1 multiplied by whatever is the size of your HTML, whatever font size is of your HTML, whereas 1M means 1 multiplied by whatever is the size of your parent tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two separate ones for them. I'm going to do 16 pixels. Then I'm going to put HTML right below the parent for M1. I'm going to create like two examples for like Rem and M. Why that sounds kind of at Eminem. Anyway, I'm going to create one more h1 tag here, and I'm going to name it child for Rem, and I'm going to say this is Rem. Okay, so we have another one here, and I'm going to target this child for Rem, and font size 1 rem. Now 1 rem and 1 m are both equal because HTML and the parent box both have a font size of 16 pixels. But if I change the HTML size to about 32, the rem would become larger because rem follows the HTML font size, whereas m follows the parent font size. Now I hope I didn't confuse you too much. I hope you got it all. I hope you got the pixel, rem, and m part. These were the most difficult to explain. Rather than that, when I'll get to like VH, VW, and percentile, it will become super easy. Now let's get to percentile because percentile is very, very, very similar to the M thingy, okay? So I'm going to create another div. Actually, I'm going to do this inside of the parent. And I'm going to change the name from parent for M to just parent. And I'm going to change this as well because you have to do that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another h1 tag. And I'm going to say class child for percentile. And I'm going to say this is percentile. And I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to use this inside of the thingy. And then I'm going to give it a font size of 10%. Now, when I do this, what does this mean? So now, when I did 100% for the child for percentile, it means 100% of the font size of the parent, right? And if you want to know, percentile means like this much percent of the parent. Right here, we are talking about font size. That's why when you do 100%, it takes 100% font size of the 16 pixels. But what I could do is I could create a box here, say div, and I could give it a class of maybe box. And then, as you can see, the box is inside of the parent. When I do dot box, okay, and then I do border 1 pixel solid aqua. So just so you can see it. And then if I do width, goes to 50% and height goes to 50%. It means 50. I'm just gonna make it 2 pixels, 5 pixels, so you can see it. This means 50% size of the parent, 50% width of the parent goes to the width of the box, and 50% height of the parent goes to the height. Now let's get to the last but not the least, VH and VWs. And these two are the ones I'm gonna use the most. Now, for using VH and VW, I'll have to remove all of this. Let me just do that real quick. I'm gonna remove all the previous styling we have done here because they do not belong here. Now, what I'm gonna do is, I hope I'm in the body tag. By mistake, I removed the body tag. Look at me. What a very responsible person I am. Now we have a body tag. Okay. No, we had a body tag. Okay. I'm stupid. Anyway, this is the body tag. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a box. I'm gonna say this box is like class box. Then I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do dot box just to target this box in CSS, not actual targeting. Then I'm gonna do border 1 pixel solid red. And now you can see the box is like this. But what would I do if I want this box to be the entire size of the screen? Okay, I want this box to cover the entire size of the screen. Now let me tell you what VH and VW actually translates to. VH is equals to viewport height, and VW is equals to viewport width. So now I'm gonna go over both of them one by one. Viewport height means this entire screen, this white area in the browser is called viewport. So viewport height is the height of the entire viewport, and viewport width is the width of the entire browser wide screen. So if I'm gonna do one thing real quick. Margin 0 and padding 0. You don't have to know what this is, what this thing is. Okay, I'm gonna comment these two out so you can't see them in the actual thing. Now, what this code does is your browser, I told you this before, your browser actually has margin and padding automatically given to any website you make. So in order to remove that, you have to write this code. I'm gonna explain this code later in some videos, but for now you just have to believe me that when I do this code, you see the extra margin, extra spacing we get around this line. If I do this, it all will be removed. So by default, all the margin and all the padding which is given to every item in the website, it can be removed using this, and we will remove them like when we will make actual websites. Now what I want to say is this div has taken all the width of the screen. Okay, that's what divs do because it's a block element, and you should know what a block element means because you have watched my videos. Now what if I want its width to be like half of the screen size? I can do that easily using width 50 VW, which means 50% of the view width. View width is the width of the entire screen. So when I do this, the width is now changed to 50% of the entire view width. Now even if I put this box inside of another box, the width wouldn't change because view height is absolute no matter what you do. The same goes for view height. If I do height, 50% of view height, it will take 50% of the available view height. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to turn down my VS Code like this, and then I'm going to increase the screen, okay, like this, and you can see this box maintains the 50% width criteria that we had given it, like this. See? No, I'm not doing any magic. I'm so happy for some reason. I'm not doing any magic, Silenx. Anyway, so yeah, that was all for pixels, ems, and rems, and vh, and vws, and percentiles. Those were the measuring units in CSS. So now, in this video, we're not only going to learn about the measuring units, we're going to do one more quick thing, which is a property called float. We're going to do that because it's really short to do, and I don't really want to waste an entire episode over it. So yeah. Now, this box is on the left side of the screen. What would you do if you want this box to go to the right side of the screen, right? What would you do to do that? Now, I hear some of you saying, that, hey, Silenx, you can do position relative, and then you can do maybe left 10 pixels, and this box would like go here, and then you can do left 100 pixels, then this box would keep traveling here, and then at some point it will come here. But like this is not cool. Like this is very much pain in the ass. What would you do if you want this box to come to the left side of the screen without any hesitation? You can use a property called float. Float, you can do this. You can give like two things. Float right, which will make it go to the right side, and then you can do float left, which will make it go to the left side. And left is like by default thingy, and there are more options in float like this, but most of them do nothing. In float, you will be only using right or left, okay? So right or left are the only two options in float. So yeah, that was the very small, quick property I wanted to tell you. I really didn't want to waste an entire episode over it, and you can see why not, because it's like really small thing. Anyway, that was all for this episode. I'll meet you guys in the very next episode. Till then, take care of us all and family. Silenx, signing off.